Secretly recorded from deep inside the bowels of a decommissioned missile silo, we bring you the man, one single man who wants to bring light to the darkness and dark to the lightness. Although he's not always right, he is always certain. So now, with security protocols in place, the protesters have been forced back behind the barricades and the blast doors are now sealed. Without further delay, let me introduce you to the host of Hutcast, Mr. Tim Hutner.
Thank you, Sergeant-at-Arms. You can now take your post. Welcome to Hutcast, Season 3, Episode 2. Thank you all for listeners. We're in our third season of this. We really like to say thank you to everyone. But today's show topics, pretty important stuff. January 6th, in the news, the media version of their insurrection. Let's talk about that, their insurrection. And next up after that is analog hacks. What is an analog hack? You might think in the past, I've seen these before, we know them under a different name, but a lot of people now in the news are calling them an analog hack. Also for New 22, we've got some new music backdrops for our sponsors. Again, we've had a lot of our sponsors on our show, and for that we thank them, and we thank them for their patronage. For Hutcast, we'll be right back with January 6th, the quote-unquote insurrection. We hear a lot about air quality these days, so keeping your indoor equipment running clean and efficiently is important to your health. The experts at Dependable Heating and Cooling in Coon Rapids have been servicing the Twin City areas for more than 25 years. With the latest and most efficient technology available, they will repair or replace your equipment and keep your indoor air healthy and comfortable. Call 763-757-5040. Our team of experts is standing by, waiting to help you with all your indoor needs. Mention you've heard about this by listening to the Hutcast podcast, and you will receive a $50 off any repair. That's Dependable Heating and Cooling. 763-757-5040. Dependable Heating and Cooling. Happy Sunday from Hutcast. Today we're going to start our conversation out about quote-unquote insurrection. Now, you can't see my fingers do the quote marks, but I'm doing them in my head. So every time I say insurrection, please use the two quotations on each side of your head like the AC/DC horns. Quote. Quote-unquote. All right. The insurrection. We've had this conversation in the past about what it was, what it meant, but now we're going to have a little different take on this because really in the news, everybody out there is talking about this insurrection. Or let me say the left media news is talking about this, and they can't wait to create a crisis out of it. Now, I was not there. There's a lot of people that were not there. We're in Minnesota, so we have... oh gosh, what's that guy's name? Not even worth knowing, but he's our senator, Dean Phillips. Dean Phillips, yeah, that's our guy. No, it's their guy. I don't know if it's my guy, but mine now. Dean Phillips posted something out in the world for the press to see, and he put it out there very strategically. He must be coming up for re-election or something here because he's sure pounding the sorry for me drum. And he doesn't. If you listen to it, it's so odd. It's such an odd thing that this guy he connected woke to white privilege to insurrection. And for life of me, I can't figure out how do you put them all together. But he did. He put them together so seamlessly that this professional misguider spun that so far out of control that I had to take a double take. Insurrection. So he says to me that he wanted to blend in. He wanted to blend in from left to right. So if they were, he was in the chambers. They were beating at the door. They were kicking it in, and he says, Hey, everybody. He screamed with all the effort he could put into it and the drama. Everybody go to the other side so you can blend in. And then he says, well, I don't know about the blacks. Well, you racist prick. I don't know about the blacks. They can't blend in, so therefore they can't. So what? All the blacks are Democrats now? Yeah, that's what he did. He did that, and he apologized to the world that he wanted to jump in with the Republicans so they wouldn't get his ass kicked, and then had to later apologize to the black people because he must assume that nobody black is a Republican. Oh, yeah, he did that. Look him up. Look him up on the web. Now, I had to start out with that because I'm infuriated by the stupidness that this individual posed. And he posed it quite well. What is an insurrection or a coup? A coup, there's a French word for a coup de pras. What is that term? Let's see, look it up here. Coup d'etat. A coup d'etat. It is a French word. Coup d'etat. Well, we just call it coup. And there's a lot of difference between a coup, a treason, insurrection, terrorism, sedation, and then, of course, you put them all together, it becomes a banana republic. There's a lot of difference. There's a whole lot of difference. So this guy, this Senator Dean Phillips, and I'm not here to hate on Dean. I don't know what he does. I mean, if that's what he does, I don't like the guy already, especially if you don't think that black people can be Republicans, and he has to apologize for himself for his meaning of, oh, I guess, there are some black Republicans out there. How do you mix in with them? What a white prick. He did that. He really did that, people. So if you look it up, he's apologizing for that. Now, sedation, treason, insurrection, all these people, you can hear their afterthoughts. And if you notice who's doing all the screaming and chiming, they ain't no Republican people. They're not out there going, hey, yeah, we should probably get over on the other side so that we look like Republicans. They'd scream and chime it. Our vice president, Pence, was in the chambers. Of course, they have to move him around because they don't know what if it does get out of hand, that they don't know if he's going to be a target or what. I mean, it could be Democrat, socialist, communist making stuff happen on that one side, and then they go in there and start raising holy heck with a Trump flag on and make America great flag on their head, cap, the whole deal. So they do that. It's misinformation. It's misdirected information. So was it a coup? What do you guys think? And you can say, oh, I got a party line and it says this, and come on now. We've all seen an insurrection. When Biden pulled that crap out of Middle East and he left all their stuff there so those guys could use our equipment to kill our guys. That's how I see it. He literally, that is a coup. That is beyond coup. That's insurrection, coup / all wrapped up in one, because they literally took storm on their presidential area with guns. And there was no second guessing it. It was exactly what it was, because we were not there to stop them, and all they had to do was wait us out. The Afghan, the Taliban, all they had to do is sit back and say, yeah, I'll take a break from fighting for a while. The U.S. can't be here for long. They know we got a 4-year cycle, or 8-year, depending on what president we're playing with. They sat back. They knew it. They are not dumb. They're professional war people. They know how to do things and how to go through it. And it's going to be a little bit like our second segment here, analog hacks. We have digital hacks. We have hacks for hacks. But then we have analog hacks, which I'll cover in the next segment. How people do stuff without technology. Analog, i.e. analog hacks. So this insurrection was all spun up. These people were fear for their lives. This dork, our senator, is showing the whole world, and we're sucking it up. They are sucking it up. I didn't. I laughed my ass off and flipped the channel because he can't be that stupid. and people who watch that are probably that stupid. Here's my gas mask in case I needed it. Here's my gas mask. What is that? So you're going to show everybody that you're so scared that you had to have a gas mask that you kept just in case for another insurrection? What? I don't get it. You know, you're not a prepper. You're not waiting for World War III and IV and V and VI to start so you have a gas mask. You actually had it and you showed people for the drama's sake of showing the people, I was scared. Now this guy, Mr. Feelings, Mr. I need a hug, is crying while he's doing this. He's tearing up. You could see the well in his eyes. You could see the sniffling in his nose. You could see the trembling of his hand and voice. Okay, are you scared? Yeah, we get it. But hey, Nancy. Nancy's a term for, pansy. Nancy, how do you like it? And you're missing the point of why they're there. You were just all scared about what's going on. And I get if you're scared. You're scared. Well, maybe that's a wake-up call for you. Why were that many people on your front step? Because the president incited a riot? Because he says, go make your voice be heard? Okay, I'm going to circle back. I hate that word. Circle back to that in a second. These people spun this so far out of control, and this 1 year anniversary is so pronouncedly stupid to the rest of the world. And these guys just talk about it like it's doomsday. Okay, circling back now. If you're that scared, there's plenty of video with security, the Capitol Police, waving people in when these people are breaking through the gates, the fence backs, the whatever they were doing to control the crowds. The crowd control, and these guys are, come on in. There's all kinds of video on that. Now, if you're the guy with no gun, all you're armed with is a cell phone, aiming it all over the place, Mr. Thor with the stupid hat and half painted blue and red and whatever his color thing was, I don't know. I don't care who he is. Gets to sit on somebody's desk and put their feet up and all this stuff. Were you that scared? Now, if I had Afghanis knocking at my door with an AK-47, RPGs, and full function stuff, yeah, I'd be the guy with the gas mask. Now I would be shaking and timbering. But Dean Emmer, really? You call yourself a man with a pair? I don't know what you call yourself. What's your verb? What's your adjective today? What are you? You are the leader of this country. You have been put in office by people who expect you to lead, not cower. And again, I told you I wasn't going to do the hating on this Dean guy. But boy, it sure is easy. It sure is crazy easy to listen to this guy and think, holy cow. All right. Circling back. Again. If you were that scared, people are kicking those doors and there's some gunshots shooting at the crowd. Nobody was shooting at the Capitol Police. They just stomped on them and run their ass over. And then they get a heart attack. And then all of a sudden they're the guys who are, oh, you killed the Capitol. Yeah, okay. I get it. They shouldn't have done it. But that wasn't an insurrection. It wasn't even a coup. It was we're going to push this thing over and we're going to show you why we're here because of a fraudulent election. Everybody knows it. I was supposed to have a episode this week about Minnesota fraud election and our circuit district court judges voting on whether or not it was accurate or not. They're supposed to vote on the 4th. I don't know if they've come to a conclusion yet. And a good friend of mine, a PhD, is kind of spinning me in that direction. I'm going to dig into that for maybe next show. If you are one of the people that think that election was not messed up somehow, you're the problem. That election was not real. That election was not accurate. That election did not even begin to reflect what this country was going to do. Now, I don't know if you guys ever study any quotes, but there's this guy back in World War II. His name is Joseph Stalin. And he says, it's not who you vote for, it's who's counting the votes. Boom. Mic drop right there. It's who's counting the votes. Here we are, some 70-some years later, and it's who's counting the votes again, because we didn't study the past. We were unable to study the past because a pandemic got in our way. Another crisis spun it around so far that we couldn't stop for even a mere second to say, hold on here. Let's finish one thing and get to the next. Because everybody spun it up. And if the left hated it because Trump said it, then they completely attacked him on it. They attacked anybody who was a Trumper. I'm kind of a Trumper. I'm kind of a Demmer. I'm kind of ride the fence on both sides, but you better make sense to me. I don't care what party you're from. So Mr. Emmer, no, I'm sorry, not Emmer, our Senator, Dean, is so upset with this, and he shows everybody this deal. He doesn't understand, again, that we're not, I use we, I mean, so the conservative parties were there not to destroy, but to be heard. They were there to be heard about this whole thing. And you know what? They weren't heard. All they were was vilified. I got one word for you. If you're listening very closely to the people who are so afraid you left socialists that you know who you are. Minneapolis. See, we lived through that, and I didn't even live through it. I lived through it within 28 miles away. But I have family that lived through that episode of Tear It Down. You're scared about being in a controlled environment with a Capitol Police and unlimited resources, and people down in the cities, Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, Cup Foods on Lake Street is kind of the epicenter for that. George Floyd didn't deserve to fly. I don't know. I wasn't there. They burned down a police station. They knew this was coming. The mayor knew this was coming. The governor knew this was coming. They didn't want to deploy any rounds, anything at all, because they didn't want to have that show of force. Because they just killed the guy. Well, the police department just killed the guy. Now we're going to put National Guard on the street with more guns. Well, he didn't kill him with a gun. He killed him with his knee. He choked him. He choked him under conditions that no person could actually live through because of all the juice in his system. He had a lot of juice in him. I don't know what it was, but I mean, that fentanyl stuff, when you start juicing up on that, I don't know. I've had some. And you don't think straight. You don't breathe. You really don't breathe. You got to be reminded to breathe. I've been on this fentanyl during a medical procedure, and it's pretty real stuff. Okay. Minneapolis is burning. Where was everybody else? The state's in chaos. The government's folding. They're burning down precincts of police. Right now, they're carjacking everybody and their brother because you're out there on the streets. Young, black kids are on the streets carjacking cars because why? I have no idea why. Because they don't have someone to tell them, knock it off? Or they think it's a right of attrition or whatever that is. Where were you, Congress? Where were you when we were tucked in our homes? Where were you when we were loaded to the teeth with guns at the front door? Where were you with your gas masks when we're in our houses living through this crap? It's different when it happens to you, isn't it? It's completely different when it happens to you, when you are in fact the victim. Because there's a whole lot of victims. And when you burn down a city and you're worried about people stomping through the security gates at a White House, and you can't even equate that, they didn't start it on fire. They just trespass to let you know why they're there. You don't get to have dual standard here. And you know what? You're continually waking up this sleeping giant or this working giant. Let me say it that way. You are continually waking up this working giant. And eventually, the people that work for a living are going to stop the people that vote for a living. You can hear me now or listen to me later. Take your pick. This is insane. You are not going to win this. You do not have the majority of the power. You only have the voting power. And you chameleon people out there that want to vote both ways, I'll vote this way because it saves my butt this time. You better have a stand in life. You better take that stand, and you better pick it and stay on that side of it. If you believe that this Dean guy was in the right and he's cowering and shaking and what's the AOC or moron doing? Oh yeah. She is now applying for some kind of a disability because she has, PTSD. She has PTSD. She physically, I don't know, you can't listen to that kind of moron stuff, but she did that. I have PTSD because of the insurrection, which it wasn't an insurrection. It was a trespassing. Think about it as a whole. I don't care if you're a Dem, a Reb, a Indie, a non-party at all. If they wanted to take it over, you would not stop them. Can't. You cannot stop that. And again, National Guards members weren't deployed. They had just the Capitol Police. But if you ever hear in the world that we're going to deploy our troops on our soil against our people, posse comitatus, you look that word up. This world isn't a crap sandwich if you do that. Our country, the people that we have held to a high office and a higher standard than us, to on a normal basis, is now going to be defunct. Now you're back at the coup. You're back at the banana republic. You're back at the sedition versus, okay, now what do you call treason? Now, you do this and the other guy is treason, or the other guy is in his rights, or is he part of the insurrection? You know, it's all about a angle of view. If you look at something from a different angle, you look at a 6 and the other guy looks at it from a 9, and you're both on other sides of the deal. I get that, but that's where diplomacy comes in. That's where you talk about this. Should they have knocked it over? No. Should you have messed up an election like that? No. It's not about the 6th. It's about why you're there on the 6th. You don't get to have your peanut butter and jelly and eat it too. We made a choice. We chose to solve this to have a peaceful election until someone unpeacefully screwed it up. This ain't a theory. This ain't a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't believe in magic, and I don't believe in coincidence. I believe everything's done for a certain specific reason, and they're very surgical in how they do that. Did it happen? You bet it did. You don't go to bed and you're 20% in the polls and then wake up and you're 90% behind. It's mathematically impossible. Pay attention to this ruling in Minnesota. Again, it was supposed to be out on the 4th. I expect it here tomorrow, which is Monday, which will be the 10th. Pay attention to that. And maybe I can get that PhD to come in here and sit on the mic time with me and say, what are you seeing? Yeah, I don't think he wants to because he's got, those accolades. They got to watch their P's and Q's, whereas us lay folk can just spin it out there and then deal with the headaches after. I don't know. I respect his position, but I will certainly take his intel and his data and use it to inform you. Now, this might not mean much to people out in the other part of the world, or it might. If I'm quoting Stalin on my show, I can only imagine what you guys are thinking out in the Eastern Bloc or Africa or, wherever. Whatever you guys have politics. There's politics everywhere. You can't go to get an ice cream cone without having politics involved. Everything's about politics. Pay attention to it, or it will politic you. All right, what are we at? 23. Holy cow. We are way too far into this segment. I was just going to keep it quick and short, but someone got my dander up, Dean Phillips. Democrat, Senator, Minnesota. So far up, I just... And I cannot take the credit for that because my wife looks at me and says, why is he the guy running and hiding when there are people who are really scared and for real reasons? And I says, honey, you got a point there. You should do a show on that, she says. And here I am doing a show on this because I'm pretty lit on that part, and she was pretty lit too. So the credit goes to the wife on this one. I just wanted to voice it out there so you guys could hear it. What are your thoughts? Hit us on the Hate Book page. Yes, it's Hate Book. We got Twitter. Hit us on the Twit. I like that. Hit us on the Twit. Hit the Twit on the Twit? I don't know what it is. It could be. So Twitter us, Facebook us. Hit us on Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout's our main download site. Facebook has a lot of secondary downloads. For God's sakes, people, pay attention. Wake up this sleeping giant, this working giant. For Hutcast, thanks for listening. We're going to take a break. Again, we are 25 minutes into this first segment. I hope I covered this pretty accurately because I really don't know what else I could have forgot in this. Let's see, we got 6, 7, which one do we know which was it? We know what it wasn't. The reason why we're there and why do members of Congress think they're special. So a quick wrap up here. What makes the Congress people think that they're special, that they're impervious, that they don't get to that? They're untouchable. Everybody's touchable. You think you're sitting in your ivory tower and rule over the people with an iron fist or democratic fist? See how that works for you? It scared you enough to be on TV with your gas mask crying about it. Huh. Right. Dean Phillips, hear our roar. Because that is what America's about. Thanks again, Hutcast. Back at you shortly. Stand by, everybody, for this commercial break. Now a word from our sponsors. Today's sponsor in part by Excel Roofing. Excel Roofing. They do it all. Roofs, siding, framing. You need a house? Give Excel a call. I've used these guys personally in the past. Have a professional crew. They're conscious of your job, and they want to produce the finest quality of craftsmanship available. Excel Roofing, 763-712-0757. Again, 763-712-0757. Excel Roofing, Dayton, Minnesota. Okay, we're back. Hutcast on this glorious Sunday, 9th January. Just a couple of days after the insurrection. That's right, we're going to play that up for a long time. We're going to talk about in this section analog hacks. Analog hacks have two different meanings in the world. If you listen to any IT guy, a digital hack is something that can come right through a firewall. It can get through a trace, through an IP. Anything can be traced digitally. But what makes the analog hack in the IT world so very scary and very dangerous is there's no way to trace it. You cannot trace an analog hack. But today, I'm going to use analog hack in a different function. Today's topic of analog hack is going to be our social engineered society of analog hacks. Now you say, what could this be? Mere Hutcast verbiage or actual data? And it's going to be some data here. There's going to be some information that we all know is out there, but we just sit back and go, hey, it doesn't affect me, so therefore I don't pay attention to it. And you should. All right, let's understand what a hack is, first of all. Anytime we have a system of events to do something, whether it's open your checkbook, whether it's starting your car, whatever those events are, you have a system. You have a thing in place so that you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and everything operates. But a hack is designed to circumvent, to defeat the system of the very system in which it is. Hence, hack. You're chopping it up. You're taking a shortcut. You are cheating the system. Oh yeah, you heard me say it. Cheating the system. In our society, our pre-engineered, common sense society, there's a lot of hacks going on because generally people are lazy, people are cheap, people are out for themselves. People have just not got enough common sense to help someone else out. To stop and take that moment of, hey, maybe I can help someone else do something better than myself, so therefore I should just do that. But no, they're taking the hack and they're using it for themselves. I.e., let me start with our welfare system, our EBTs, our magic cards that, hey, don't get a job. Sit on the system. Who's paying for that system? You and I. That is an analog hack. They have been predetermined, pre-engineered for the life cycle of them and their parents before them and whatever else these people learn these from. And this is a system-wide failure. Yes, there are people that need this, and I am all for working for them. I have zero issues trying to help someone out who needs help, but not because it's a way of life, but because it's a need in life. It's a momentary. It's circumventing the system by sitting on your behind and working for it versus earning it or in voting for it. Let me put it that way. So that analog hack is, one of them in life is welfare. Happens all the time. Let's break down the welfare system. If you're a single mother and you have one kid, you get X amount of dollars. Now, I don't know. I've just been told what I've heard. I have not been on welfare. I have not had the need to see. I'm not too proud to take it, but I haven't had a need. I'm too busy working. If that mother has a second child, they double down on their money. Their EBT, their whatever that function is. Again, I can't even speak the language because I don't know what it is, but I do know what I'm paying for. They have 2 kids. Now they can take the first kid's clothes, i.e. the hack, throw it on the second kid, only buy the first kid clothes, and all the stuff goes downhill. The second kid gets everything left over, like any common sense thing would do. Now you have a third kid. Mind you, they're not married. Mind you, there are no dads involved. Mind you, there is nobody paying for the child support. They're not paying for that. And if they do go after them and they don't have the money to begin with, then who's still paying for it? That's right, you and I. We are the baby daddies. We are the sugar daddies, baby daddies, all in one, i.e., that's what I call an analog hack. Let's talk some more analog hack. I can't afford to get my rent under control, so therefore the city of Minneapolis has now decided and voted on pushing rent control. Well, excuse you and me. Isn't this a capitalist society? Isn't this one of those societies where, hey, you're gonna vote for these people to get 20 some bucks an hour downtown? You're going to control the rent. You're going to control their health care. You are going to control everything, i.e. the social engineered hack. Because people vote for a living. These people are being conditioned, groomed, by not even knowing it, by collecting free stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't believe that $800 a vial medicine for diabetes should be $800, $1,000, $3,000. I don't even know what it's at. I'm not a product user, but I have people who do visit my shop and they say it's out of control. And we've got a female Democrat senator. She's trying to get control of that. I get that because it's been out of control for a long time. And she has every right to. I'm on her side. Not a party thing. This is a common sense thing. Kind of got a hack going there. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. How do you stop it? Vote it out, people. Get it out there. Shut it off. Make common sense decisions at the poll. Okay, what do we got? Social engineering. All right, voting by mail. Now, I have to have a license to buy a gun. I have to have a license to buy anything that has to do with federal government except for voting. Well, in my particular state, you have to have a license to get a ballot to vote. And I did that. I voted by mail. I'm kind of like, why go out in this mess? Why do I want to be part of that? But it leaves room for what I said earlier. It's the people that count the vote, not the people that vote. It gives them an opportunity, a hack, in order to change an election outcome. They did that. That's happened. Again, I don't believe in magic. I do not believe in coincidence. I do believe that things are pre-engineered to do things, and that's what happened here. How do you do a hack? Well, I don't know. I've never had to really do a hack in life. I usually, if I want something, I buy it, pay for it, I use it, I move on. Okay, who's doing the hacks? We've already described what a hack is. We have already described what analog means. How to is a whole different thing. Now, who is to hack? Think about the people who don't want to work. Think about those people who are intrinsically lazy. Hey, I don't have to work. That's someone else's job. Work's hard. I don't even want to have the pride to work. So therefore, I'll just sit on my behind and collect. So who do you think is going to do the most hacking there? It's going to be people who want to sit home, who don't want to work. It's a common, people are lazy. It's just what they do. So how do you stop those people? A senator buddy called me once and says, what should we do with it? I says, it's not what we do with the money we have. It's how do we stop the money in the future from going someplace it shouldn't? I said, stop the welfare program for the abuse, for the hacking on it. Because you're the only person who ever said that to me. Everyone says, well, let's buy this, let's spend this, let's do that. We don't need to spend it if we can save it. And by saving it means that we change our social engineering. We vote policy, not party. Yeah, it's kind of a big thing. He was very surprised. I said, let's get people off welfare. That's a real thinker, isn't it? I want everybody to know this, that I'm not the guy who says you shouldn't get welfare. I'm the guy that says you shouldn't abuse it. You shouldn't hack welfare. And I get it, $800 cotton balls, $4,000 toilet seats, all this stuff. For years, they've hacked our billing on our medical stuff for years. Canada don't have that problem. Of course, it's socialized medicine. We're trying to get there, and I say we, not me, them. There's no such thing as socialized medicine. It shouldn't. It's just insane. So for you guys out there that want to vote for a living, think about how you're paying your way. Because if you're one of those people that think that we should be given everything, well, then you're part of the problem. But if you think we should be working for everything, you there, my friend, are the now solution. We can make America great. We can do this. We just need to all do it. Can't have half of us do it and the other half collecting it. So social engineering is a really big thing. I'll cover some more of that in later shows. I didn't really want to, blame the world, but I want to blame the person, the people who think that they're just going to sit on their ass and do this. That's how we stop them. That's how we common sense this out of them. We say, no, we ain't doing this. Okay, what do we got here for time? Let me see. About 12 minutes in this section. I can cut this short because the other one ran over. I want to make these about a half hour, 40 minutes in length, plus pre-roll, post-roll. Social engineering. Think about it. Research the subject. Pay attention to what's going on in the world. Don't let no one tell you that, hey, we should all collect. The government is not our sugar daddy, and the government is you and me and us and we and us. Later in life, I'm going to talk about a bill we're trying to introduce in the state of Minnesota. And I want you to dig into it when the time is right. It's not out yet. And it's part of the social engineering that I want to talk about. We now have a system in this city, or this state, this country, that if you are a non-vaxxed and you get the COVID, and you are in a hospital, and you need ivermectin, any of the medicines that come with that are kind of experimental, and you're on your dying bed, do you know that they will not invoke the law of Right to Try Act for that medicine? Did you know that hospital systems will not engage that? They will not push that through because it doesn't fit their narrative. Now, I can't figure out for the life of me why a hospital, if they get the Right to Try Act and you're out, you fit the criteria of dying, why you didn't take the try? In hospitals, why wouldn't they do that? They, at that point, they alleviate themselves of any litigation at that point because you made the right to try. And their proxies, which now they're trying to hold back the proxies, again, the Medical Association of Minnesota, to one or none, or to we're going to make what's best for them. If you got the VED and if you're in a bed somewhere and you have VED and you're dying, they're dropping any type of basic care. You roll them over every so many hours because they can't move themselves. They shut that care off because, hey, you're dying anyway. And I have had someone personally listen to a nurse make fun and mock a non-vaxxed because they didn't take the vax. And they said to these people while they were in some kind of a comatose state and says, "Where's your vaccine now? You're no vaxxer. Bet you wish you'd taken the shot." Oh, baby. Say that around me. The person heard it firsthand from a nurses, and they giggled about it. Now, this guy died, and they still did that. They said that to a dying person on their deathbed because they had no proxies, no family members in that room with them. Social engineering, here it is. We're going to cut them off from their loved ones. You'll die alone. And on top of a bill, a law in Minnesota, Right to Try, I know the authors of that law, and they circumvented it because of why? Emergency powers from Waltz? I don't know. I would assume there's going to be some lawyers on this. Some pretty high test lawyers. They denied their right to try. Oh, the Hospital Association is going to have a big holy cow on this one. But they did that. First-hand knowledge. Seen it, heard it from the people. And the bill we're going to introduce into the state is going to be called the William Shakespeare Law. This law's got a whole bunch of stuff in it. It's being jacketed as we speak. It should come out in the next omnibus. We'll get some senators to look at it. It's common sense. I believe that these people who are siding with the government versus the people, these people, these hospitals are going to get their knees deep in kimchi, and they need to be pruned. Okay, not much. I didn't want to go too far into that, but I wanted you to know what's on the horizon. Put it on your radar, people. Bring it to the people that you talk to. Talk to them and say, hey, what have you heard about this if you haven't been vaxxed? Because you're going to get second fiddle to anything. And now they're trying to do the racist thing. And again, I hate race. I hate the word race because we are human. We are all human race. We're different ethnicities, but we are one race, and that is human. People, they want to now, the left, the socialist lefts are all saying that, well, now we're cutting off the black people because they can't have vaxes, and they're not privy to the same medical treatments as the whites. And, oh, God, give me a break. They're free shots. They're free tests. The contract just ran out by the state, so it went from $12 a test to $24 a test. The contract ran out with the federal government for Pfizer and all those guys, so now they're doubling down. They made more money than Jesus Almighty on this deal. They made a lot of money on this deal. And they're still making it because we keep letting Fauci deny the right to try. I don't know if it's Fauci. I just kind of threw that out there. You do the digging. You figure it out. Somebody's denying the right to try. And after I told my senator buddy about this, and he goes, I've heard this now about 3 or 4 times. They've stopped the right to try. Why? What would give them the authority to do that? Again, I'm babbling about the same thing. It's a sand burn in my craw. I don't like it. We're going to cover this a little heavier, but be on the radar for the William Shegstead Law. It's going to be epic. We just need the right people to sign. Hopefully not Dean Phillips. Hope you found today's episode a little eye-opening, because I actually enjoyed the research on some of this, and I can't believe it myself. Buddy, we are about 19 minutes in the second segment. We're going to do a post-roll, kick it off, and we'll launch shortly. So everybody, for Hutcast, I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And that's a wrap for Hutcast. Hutcast is, again, a pragmatic approach to seeing things how some people see them. If you like our show, give us a thumbs up on the Facebook site. Again, for Hutcast, thank you again. Have a wonderful evening.